Good afternoon, everyone. Let us start. Remember, we have been learning soil as a resources. We have been discussing different types of soils found in India, classified based on color, age, texture, chemical and physical properties, and so on. Last time we discussed about alluvial soils and black soils, and today we shall continue the same. We shall start with a discussion on red and yellow soils. Now I shall share my screen. Do you see the text? Do you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the third type of soil, red and yellow soils. Now let us read. Red soils develop on crystalline igneous rocks. Okay, crystalline, you know, very hard, old igneous rocks. And what are igneous rocks? You have learned earlier in the previous classes. Can any one of you tell me what are igneous rocks? See, igneous rocks are the rocks formed after cooling lava, the hot molten material or the magma. Okay, and red and the yellow soils develops on crystalline igneous rocks in the areas of low rainfall. Okay, in the areas of low rainfall in the eastern and the southern part of Deccan Plateau. So these red and the yellow soils are also found in Orissa, Chhattisgarh, then southern part of the Middle Ganga Plain, along the Piedmont zone of the Western Ghats. Piedmont, it means foothills, okay, foothill zones of Western Ghats. So in these areas we find red and yellow soils. So now let us see a map. Okay, first see the legend, and this color code, this shade color shows red and yellow soils, and here so these are the areas of red and yellow soils, and here in Telangana also we find it, then eastern part of Maharashtra, then Madhya Pradesh, then Jharkhand area, western Orissa, okay, and this Chhattisgarh, the whole state of Chhattisgarh, and here in the Western Ghats also, we find this red and yellow soils in the Piedmont zones. Okay, this area lies the Western Ghats, and in the foothills of the Western Ghats also we find red and yellow soils. And these soils develop reddish color due to diffusion of iron. So why red soils red in color? So these soils develop reddish color due to diffusion of iron in crystalline and metamorphic rocks. Okay, it means that these soils contain iron, and due to oxidation process the color of the soil is red. Okay, and it looks yellow. This soil, red soil, looks yellow when it occurs in hydrated form. That means when red soils absorb water, okay, a kind of chemical reaction is taken place, known as hydration. Okay, and because of that the color of the soil turns yellow. However, this chemical reaction is a reversible reaction, and it may be back. Okay, the yellow color may be back to red. So this is about red and yellow soils. Any question, boys and girls?
Okay.
So the next type of soil is laterite soil. Okay, and see, laterite soils has been derived from the Latin word later, which means a brick. Okay, laterite soil has been the word laterite has been derived from the Latin word. Latin is the language spoken in Italy. Okay, it's derived from Latin word later, which means brick. So the word later means brick. The laterite soil develops under tropical and subtropical climate. Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. It is formed in the areas of very hot climate with alternate wet and dry season. Okay, so the area is receiving heavy rainfall, and after that it is followed by the dry season. Okay, and the soil is the result of intense leaching. That means laterite soils are formed due to leaching process. So what do you mean by leaching? We have learned that the laterite soil is formed due to leaching process in the areas of heavy rainfall. So before I explain the meaning of this word leaching, you must know the difference between these red and yellow soils and laterite soils. Can you find the differences between these red and yellow soil and laterite soils? Yes, anybody? See, we have known that red and yellow soils are developed in the areas of low rainfall. Okay, red and yellow soils are developed in the areas of low rainfall. This one in the areas of low rainfall, whereas laterite soils develop in the areas of heavy rainfall. This is the main difference. Okay, this is the main difference. And about the leaching process, I think you might have learned in the science classes. See, for example, here this is the surface. Okay, and this is the topmost layer. That is the topmost layer of the soil. That is A horizon that we have learned earlier. Then after that you will find the other horizons. Okay, B horizon, then C horizon, and so on. So in the areas of heavy rainfall, say for example rainfall is going on here, in the areas of heavy rainfall, this topmost layer, that is air horizon, as I told you, it contains a lot of nutrients. Okay, lots of minerals and nutrients are found in the topmost layer. And so when there is heavy rainfall, then the rainwater dissolve these nutrients and will be carried downwards. Okay, all these nutrients, very fine particles, soil nutrients, are dissolved and will be carried downwards, thus leaving the surface layer sterile, that is not fertile. And this process is known as leaching. Okay, and you must know that laterite soils are formed due to leaching process in the areas of heavy rainfall. Clear? Any question?
No, sir.
And laterite soils are mostly deep to very deep. Okay, that means thick. Laterite soils are deep to very deep, means thick, and acidic. Generally, laterite soils are acidic, that is the pH value is less than 6.0 or 6.5. Okay, and generally deficient in plant nutrients occur mostly in the southern states. So these are the characteristics of laterite soils. Number one, laterite soils are deep to very deep, means thick, then acidic, and generally deficient in plant nutrients, generally deficient in these humus, and occur mainly in the southern states, then Western Ghats, region of Maharashtra, then Orissa, then part of West Bengal, and the northeastern region. So when we look at the map of India also, showing the soil types of India, and see this color code. Okay, so this color represents laterite soils, and I think you'll find patches here in the Western Ghats. Okay, in the Western Ghats also we find laterite soils, and here in patches in Tamil Nadu. Okay, some patches in Tamil Nadu, then Karnataka, Telangana area also, and here in Chhattisgarh also, Orissa also, some you will find in patches. Okay, not widespread, and here also, and most of the these in patches in this Meghalaya area. Okay, and western part of Manipur, then some part of Assam. Remaining these areas, actually these stats is covered with red and yellow soils. So these are the areas of these laterite soils, and where these soils support deciduous and evergreen forests, it is humus rich, and but under sparse vegetation. Okay, under sparse vegetation, and in the semi-arid environment, it is generally poor. The humus is poor. That means in the areas of dense vegetation, the humus content is rich. In the areas of sparse vegetation, okay, it is poor. So this figure number 1.8, see here, shows laterite soils. I think you will be seeing these photographs here, and this photograph shows laterite soils, a sample of laterite soils. And they are prone to, actually these laterite soils are prone to erosion and degradation due to their position on the landscape. Erosion depends on the landform, on the type of landform. Okay, in the areas of steep slope, so it is prone to erosion. And we have learned that these laterite soils are not fertile, but after adopting appropriate soil conservation technique, okay, and so it can be cultivated. And see, this soil is very useful in growing tea and coffee in the southern states of Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu. So in these states, after appropriate treatment, is used for growing tea and coffee. Okay, and laterite soils in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala. So in these states also, these laterite soils are suitable for growing crops like cashew nut. In Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala, okay, laterite soil is used for growing cashew nuts. So any question, boys and girls, about laterite soils? Nobody is responding. Okay, then let me proceed. Next type of soil is arid soils. Okay, the color of the arid soil ranges between this red to brown in color. Okay, red soils range from red to brown. And about texture, sandy. Arid soils are sandy in texture, means contain sands, and saline in nature. It contains salt also. Okay, and in some areas salt content is very high, and common salt is obtained by evaporating the water. Just here, very easy process. Okay, see here we have the say container. For example, we have a container here, and just put a water, fill with water, then put sands here, then after that, after some time, all the salt in the sand will be dissolved, and take out the sand and let it evaporate, maybe in the sunshine or maybe on the fire. Then after that you will get salt. Okay, and so due to dry climate and high temperature, evaporation is faster, and these soils lack humus and moisture. So due to dry climatic condition and due to high temperature, evaporation rate is very fast, and that is why this soil lacks humus. Humus, partially decomposed organic matter, and the moisture, that is water. The lower horizons of the soil are occupied by conker. So what do you mean by conker? As I told you earlier, the lower horizon, that is V and C horizon of the soil, are occupied by conker because of increasing calcium content downwards. Conker, this is a local term, okay, and it refers to the crystals or the grains of calcium carbonate. It prohibits, okay, the infiltration of water, as we discussed earlier. And conker layer formation in the bottom horizon, see, is given here. Conker layer formation in the bottom horizon restrict the infiltration of water. It prohibits, okay, it restricts the absorption of water in the lower horizon of the soil. These arid soils, after proper irrigation, okay, become cultivable and has been growing crops in the western part of Rajasthan. In the western part of Rajasthan, Indira Gandhi Canal has been constructed and water is available, okay, and now the western part of Rajasthan has been growing crops after proper irrigation provided by the Indira Gandhi Canal. So this photograph shows arid soils. I think you'll be seeing here figure number 1.9 shows arid soils. See the color, okay, see the color. This is a photograph showing arid soils. And about the location of the arid soils, just we may look at this map. In the first, see, yellow color indicates arid soils, and it is found in the western part of Rajasthan here. Okay, so this area shows areas of arid soils. And next we have this another type of soil, that is Fourier soils. And these soils, as the name indicates, okay, found in the hilly and mountainous areas where sufficient rainforests are available. And the soil texture varies according to the mountain environment where they are formed. So before we proceed, again, let us find the location of these forests and the mountain soil. See the green color, light green color indicates forest and a mountain soil, and I think here it is here. This Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and Jammu and Kashmir. Then here we have the state of Sikkim, and here we have some portion of Arunachal Pradesh. So in these areas we find forests and these mountain soils. And we have known that the texture of the soil varies according to the mountain environment, according to the slope of the mountain, and they are loamy and silty, okay, in the valley sides. So about the texture, They are loamy and silty in the valley side and coarse grain. The size of the grain is big in the upper slopes. As I see here, valley side means a lower slope. Say for example, here this is a big mountain, and here at the upper slopes here, the size of the grain is what? The size of the grain is coarse. The texture is coarse. Okay. And whereas at this valley side here in the low-lying area at the foothills, it is loamy and silty. That means fine. Okay, it is fine. Loamy and silty. Okay, loamy and silty. So there is a good amount of clay and silk in the low-lying areas. In the snow-covered areas of the Himalayas, this soil experience denudation. Denudation, this is erosion. We can say erosion, the process of removing particles, soil particles from the surface is known as denudation, and are acidic and low humus content. So these are the characteristics. Okay, in the Himalayan mountains, these soils experience denudation, means erosion. Then these soils are acidic. The pH value is less than 6.5, and a low humus content, that is low partially organic matter. And the soils found in the lower part of the valley, particularly on the river terraces and the alluvial plains, are fertile. Okay, if the soils are found at the low-lying areas, as we indicated here, okay, here in this area, here the soils found here are fertile. Okay, very fine and fertile. So these are the different types of soils found in India based on color, age, texture, physical and chemical properties. So before we proceed, do you have any query, any question? Are you clear? Yes, anybody? Okay, then let us proceed. Next we have soil erosion and soil conservation. Okay, soil erosion and soil conservation. So this will be the last topic of this chapter. What do you mean by soil erosion and how the soil erosion can be checked? This will be discussed in this section. Okay, and see, the meaning is given here. The denudation of soil cover and the subsequent washing down is described as soil erosion. Denudation, the process of removing soil particles from the surface, and the subsequent washing down is described as soil erosion. And the process of soil formation and erosion go hand in hand, and generally there is a balance between the two. There is a balance between the process of soil formation and the erosion naturally, but sometimes this balance is disturbed. Okay, sometimes the balance of soil formation and the erosion is disturbed due to human activities. Okay, due to human activities like deforestation, then overgrazing, then construction and mining. So these are the different causes of soil erosion in India. Okay, soil erosion in India is mainly caused by human activities. Of course, natural factors also cause soil erosion, but that is a natural process. We cannot control it. But at the same time, human beings also accelerate the process of erosion, and some of the important human activities that cause soil erosion are deforestation, okay, then overgrazing, and construction and the mining process. And other natural forces, okay, natural causes are wind, glacier and water. These lead to the soil erosion. And running water cuts through the clay soils and make deep channels as gullies. Okay, running water cuts through the clay soils and makes deep channels, rills, as gullies. And this type of soil erosion is known as gully erosion. Okay, the land becomes unfit for cultivation and is known as bad land. And in the Sambal basin, okay, such lands are called ravines, and sometimes the water flows as a sheet over large areas down a slope. Okay, before we proceed, see here. Chambal rivers, just let us find the location of Chambal. So this is river Chambal. So in this area, erosion process, denudation work is very active. Okay, and hence we cannot use the land because the surface is rocky, as you will see here. So this is a photograph showing a Chambal badland. And since it is a vast land, we cannot use it for cultivation, and hence the landscape is known as Chambal badland or Chambal ravines. Okay, and one more thing you have to know is that the type of erosion, okay, when the river the running water max channels is known as gully erosion, as you will find here. See here, I think you were seeing making of reels here. One reel is here, then another reel is here, another reel is here, and it is joining together. So in this way, the running water is cutting a lot of reels and channels, and this type of erosion is known as gully erosion. Okay, so this is one type of erosion, and here this is also another type of erosion, okay, caused by the running water. So this here we have a river or a rivulet, and there is side cutting. Okay, there is sideward erosion of the soil. And we have another type of the soil erosion, as we have already read. Sometimes water flows as a sheet over a large areas down the slope. In such cases, the topsoil is washed away, and this is known as sheet erosion. When just see here, okay, when the rainwater or the running water removes the whole surface, okay, in this case reels are not making, simply the whole surface is washing downward in the form of sheet, and that is known as sheet erosion. Okay, and yes, any question, boys? Do you have any question? I think I heard somebody's sound asking, do you ask something?
No.
Okay, so remember we have been discussing about the causes of soil erosion in India, and in the desert areas also, okay, soil erosion is taken place, and when the wind blows, okay, over the loose soil, then the surface soil is removed and is known as wind erosion. And sometimes soil erosion is also caused to the defective method of farming, that is ploughing in the wrong way, that is up and down the slope. See, form channels for the quick flow of water leading to soil erosion. See, in the mountainous areas, if you plow ups and down like this, up and down, okay, so it will help in the formation of reels. So this is what I call wrong method of ploughing. Instead, you must do a ploughing this horizontally in this way. We call it contour ploughing. It should be done, okay, and but if you do up and down ploughing, then that is a wrong method of ploughing, and that will cause soil erosion. That is what we call defective method of farming. And ploughing along the contour line can decelerate. Actually, we have learned the causes of soil erosion. Okay, next step is about how can we check the soil erosion. Before we proceed, one wrong method of farming is that, for example, in the case of irrigation also, for example, this is your plot of land, and see water, you are doing irrigation, and here we have these bunds. Okay, so these are the different bunds, different compartments. And if you do this irrigation in this way, say water is flowing into, okay, in this way, in a row. So for example, water is flowing here, then again you are cutting this bund, crossing the bund, then again it is flowing like way, and see, it is like this. If you are doing like this, then it is a wrong method of farming, wrong method of irrigation. What to do, instead of doing this in a row, in a line, okay, so you can do like this. First you may let the water into this compartment. After that you may cut this bund, okay, then this that irrigation is provided. Again you may cut this bund, and again you may cut this bund, and again you can come down here, then again you can go to this compartment. So this is the good method of irrigation. So this method should be practiced. Okay, so in the last paragraph you will find this methods of conservation. How can we check the soil erosion? So ploughing along the contour line can decelerate the flow water down the slope, and this is called contour ploughing. As I told you, first what to do, we have to make terraces. We have to make terraces in this way. For example, this is the mountain slope, and we have to make terraces in this way. Okay, we have to make terraces, and there should be bunds here, and ploughing should be done this here horizontally in this way. Okay, this is known as contour ploughing after making the terraces. And again it is mentioned also here, steps can be cut on the slopes making terraces. This will reduce the erosion, as mentioned here. Terrace cultivation restricts erosion. And so in the western and the central Himalayas you will find terrace farming. And another method is that large fields can be divided into strips. Okay, large fields can be divided into strips, and the strips of grass are left to grow between the crops. This is known as strip cropping. So what to do, large fields can be divided into strips, and the strips of grasses are left to grow between the crops. So it is also done in the areas of the mountainous areas. For example, this is your plot of land, and here this is the direction of the slope. Okay, first what to do, first you have to grow a row, okay, a series of crops here, grasses. We have to grow grasses in a row, and after that it is to be followed by a row of vegetables. Okay, so this is another row of vegetables here, another row of vegetables. After that again we have to grow these grasses, strips of grasses. Okay, grasses. So when the water flows, the grasses will protect the erosion. Okay, so in this way we can do strip cropping also. Okay, as mentioned here, strip cropping. Then another method is planting of lines of trees to create shelter, also works as a similar way, and this is known as shelter belt. What to do, actually this is done mainly in the desert areas. Okay, this is mainly done in the desert areas. So here we have to plant trees, okay, here in a row, in a line. So we have to plant trees here, and these rows of trees is known as shelter belt. So here we have to grow another row of trees here. So when the wind blows over it, then it retards, okay, it checks the speed of the wind, and this is what we call shelter belts. And planting of trees in rows will also prevent soil erosion, and this method is known as shelter belt. Okay, and this is mainly practiced in desert areas. And these shelter belts have contributed significantly to the stabilization of sand dunes and in stabilizing the desert in the western India. Actually, in Rajasthan area, actually sand dune, you know, heaps of sand. For example, this is a sand dune, heaps of sand. When the wind blows from this side, then the sand particle will be carried and will be moving down here, will be rolling down here. So this process will continue, and in this way the sand dunes are moving. Okay, and so this is a very serious condition. So it can be checked by this shelter belt. Okay, the moving of sand dunes can be checked by shelter belts. Okay, and so this is mainly practiced in the deserts in the western part of India. So these are the different ways of soil conservation. That is, how can we check the soil erosion are given here. Okay, so what are those methods? The first one is ploughing along the contour lines. The second one is terracing. This is another method, okay, or terrace cultivation. And another method is the strip cropping as given here. And the last one but not the least is the shelter belt. Okay, so these are the different methods of soil conservation in addition to the afforestation process. So any question, boys and girls? Any question? Yes. Nobody is responding. Okay. If you don't have questions, let us stop here for today. Thank you very much for joining my class. Thank you all. And don't forget